Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video where today we are going to be installing a steering wheel wrap on the Mazda CX-9. Let's get straight into this. That's right, the Mazda CX-9 is getting a steering wheel wrap from our friends at Stitch & Cover. They have previously sponsored a video for my F10 535i right there, and I absolutely loved it. So we talked and we decided we could make another video for the CX-9, this time, of course, with their new box, Stitch & Cover. It's all about custom. These guys are awesome. They make some insanely high quality things, and this one is absolutely no exception. So the CX-9 is absolutely a great car. However, the steering wheel is really thin, really shiny, and literally just like kind of breaking apart. It's been, it's been used. This car is pretty used. We drive it absolutely everywhere. Driven it from Texas to Florida a handful of times, if even more than that. And the steering wheel is starting to show, its signs. It's only a 2018, but it is, of course, like I said, showing its age. So it's time to fix this. And of course, the best way to fix it is with a Stitch & Cover steering wheel cover. So here it is. Of course, this, like I said in the previous video for my F10 535i, this isn't like a cheap AutoZone, fuzzy pink steering wheel cover. This is a proper, real cover that you have to stitch and sew yourself. So we went ahead and we opted for genuine leather. Check this out. I know you can't, but I wish you could smell it. It smells so good. This is, in fact, real, genuine leather. You have stickers here for front and back, but check this out. I mean, it is nice and matte and soft. It is really soft. And we went ahead and we went with the gray stitching to complement the other gray stitching in the car. They sent me two colors to try with the stitching to see which color we like most, and I do think I'm gonna go with the lighter gray just because it actually does match the interior stitching a little bit better. It brings tape, double-sided tape to put on the inside, a little thimble, and a little trim piece tool to pry everything in. And of course, instructions. It does bring an instruction manual. They also have instructions on their website and a bunch of videos on YouTube. But since I've done this once before, I think I can do it, hopefully this time by myself. If not, of course, I'll always try using a video or the instructions. But let's go ahead, start cleaning off the steering wheel, and then start applying and wrapping the steering wheel with this. Let's go ahead and start. All right, steering wheel is clean. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and check the cover and see front and back. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply this frontwards, kind of mock it up, see what it would look like, and try to stretch it on over, because stretching it over is pretty difficult. It's pretty annoying. I think it's one of the most tedious parts of this, but once you get it on, then you should be good from there. I'm gonna go ahead and try to put this on. All right, so I have it on. It actually wasn't that hard because I've done it before, so I just used my knee to keep on one edge and just tried stretching across the other side. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to go ahead and start tucking in the excess leather behind everything so that it's already there when I go to stitch it. Because if I go to stitch it and it's not in the right spot, I may stitch it wrong or may be, just out of whack. So I'm gonna go ahead and start tucking everything in now and seeing if everything does in fact, fit the way it should. So I'm gonna go ahead and start doing that after I put the tape. I'm gonna get some double-sided tape, put this on major hotspots, not any curves, but onto major hotspots where, you would most likely hold it and move the wheel so it doesn't move around. So I'm gonna go ahead and start applying some tape. All right, so here's what we have so far. I've actually put everything, on, and I've started putting all the trim inside, the excess trim going on inside, and I figured out the patterns and everything that I want to do. This little plastic cover on the back actually goes on top of this perfectly, so this is going to be hidden on the back here, so you're not going to see any overlaps. I've put tape back here for this part right here, and I'm gonna tuck in this little excess trim as well. I think this should go pretty well, hopefully, knocking on wood, but I do think this is gonna look pretty good. I've also gotten everything in here nice and tight. It's actually looking so far better than I thought. I've also put tape on this guy in the back. You can't really see it, but I've wrapped the excess, this one right here, all the way across the back. This is gonna go underneath the back side. This is pretty well designed, I have to be honest. It looks to be pretty well designed, as like with my last one, the F10 535i, and like the last one, the stitching pattern that I'm gonna use is not gonna be this same one because this is really weird. I don't even know what stitching pattern this is. What I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be going for the BMW M stitching. It's not gonna be in the M colors, obviously, but I'm gonna be doing that same pattern because I think it looks really cool, actually. It's a very simple pattern, but it looks really cool. You kind of just like skip one, you alternate over one under the other, and I think it looks really, really cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that with, like I said, the gray stitching. The gray stitching is gonna look very nice paired with this, and of course, matching the stitching over here and over here. But I'm gonna go ahead, get this needle on, and start stitching probably from this side like I did last time. So let's go ahead and see how this goes. Also, one thing before you start stitching, which I'm about to do right now, is make sure you have more than twice the length of the area you're gonna stitch. So I'm gonna stitch right here, this little bottom right section. So I went ahead and I got twice as much stitching as I would need for one way, just to be safe that you don't run out halfway through, because that would really suck. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start stitching from the back, get a little anchor point, tie a knot, and then start stitching back and forth, like I said, with the M stitching pattern. Let's see how this goes. All right, I've gone ahead and I've stitched a bit. I've stitched these both bottom parts, and this is significantly better than last time. Of course, you know, you learn with experience. I actually ditched the idea for the M stitching and instead went for the classic, just regular, every other stitching pattern, and I think this looks really, really good. I'm actually impressed with how good it looks. I did get a bit of damage here using the pry tool, so do be careful with that because this is a very sensitive material. I don't know what it is. It's like a really soft plastic, very, very easily damaged. I don't know why. It kind of sucks, but like you can see here, everything is done, and I've actually stitched everything all the way in the back, and I've tied it to the back over here, and so now everything is ready to go on the bottom, and I think this looks so good. I am really, really surprised at how good I got this. Really, really happy. But now I gotta do the biggest part all the way across the top, and hopefully the seams line up, because last time when I was stitching this side, I kept getting the seams off, so I had to keep finding different patterns and ways to start here at the beginning so that I could actually get the seams to line up. But eventually I did get it to line up, and it looks so good. Seams lining up there, seams lining up here. Stitching looks absolutely awesome. It feels great, and it's not moving. The tape is keeping it secure. I do highly recommend using the tape, because on mine I didn't use enough tape, and it kind of slides a little in a few spots, and it's a little annoying. But yes, do use the tape, especially in the big contact areas like, you know, the 12 o'clock, 3 and 9. Use that tape. It's really, really coming in handy. So I'm gonna go ahead and start wrapping this up, and this is probably gonna be the hardest part for sure, but I'm gonna go ahead and I will persevere, and I'm gonna try my best to make the top part look as good as the bottom, if not better, hopefully. Let's do this. All right, and we are done. I finally finished. Check it out. It looks so good. I'm actually really surprised with how well the stitching came out, and the seams did in fact line up on both sides. Really happy about that. As y'all saw at the bottom right here, super smooth, super nice stitching, of course, like I said, and a nice gray to match the other gray stitching all around the car. I think it's a really, really nice little touch, and it does feel really nice and grippy, beefy, and of course the back is tucked in. I made sure my best to tuck everything in to make everything look as OEM as possible, and in fact I would say that it definitely does, because everything is nice. You wouldn't even know, but it does look really, really good. I'm super happy about this, really happy. And I did forget to mention that if you use code DCRevs, you get 10% off your entire stitching cover order. So if you do want one of these covers, for pretty much most makes and models, they make it for, you know, BMWs and Minis and Mazdas, obviously, as you saw. But many other cars, use code DCRevs to get 10% off your entire order. Really good little deal. I highly suggest checking them out. But that is about it. Y'all saw the whole process or whatever. The stitching, okay, let me say that this wasn't really like per se a tutorial on how to do it. Just kind of like my experience doing it. It wasn't that bad. Stitching was a little bit confusing getting started at first, but there are lots of videos on the internet, some of which of course by Stitching Cover themselves. They have their own YouTube channel and they show you how to stitch certain patterns, which I think is really useful, and I did actually end up using myself because I couldn't really figure out how to get some patterns to, you know, how to stitch them and how to keep them there. So it was really useful, but I think that is about it. I'm really happy with the product, I gotta say. I've been using it for a while now. It is so comfortable, it's so soft, it's so smooth, and it's really grippy. I really like it. It's nice, and it gives the car a whole new feel, because that's the thing that you touch the most when you drive a car is the steering wheel, right? So having that feel great really makes the entire rest of the car feel great as well. But like I said, I do think that's about it. Thank you again to Stitching Cover for sending out this cover for me to review, a non-biased review, but I did end up really liking it, like I knew I would, because I have one on my car. Really good little product. But that's about it. Make sure to use code DCRevs to get 10% off. Thank Stitch & Cover for sending this out. And thank you all for watching. And I hope to catch you all in the next one. Take care.